Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you want to have your name in PTFS, either on a wall at RAF Scampton or on the tail of the Avro Vulcan, all will be explained in the first part of the video. Otherwise, you can use the timestamps in the description to skip to what the current PTFS test update is. So a few months ago, I went down to Southend Airport, home to Avro Vulcan X-Ray Lima 426. Now, as a massive Vulcan fan myself, I'd already seen a couple of Vulcans, but what was different about this one was the condition it is in. This Vulcan is preserved exceptionally by the Vulcan Restoration Trust, and considering it's kept outside, the volunteers have done an amazing job. While I was there, they started up an auxiliary engine and operated the air brakes, bomb bay, elevons and rudder, and it was really cool to see it up close. Not so long after that, I went back to Southend to attend a photo shoot of the Vulcan hosted by Timeline Events and got some pretty cool shots. I was, and still am, really impressed with how they managed to restore and maintain it so well. Now, unfortunately, maintaining a wonderful 40-ton bomber doesn't actually receive any public funding, which means donations and the cost of yearly membership subscriptions from Vulcan fans are the only funding they receive. This Vulcan is still in running condition and can indeed still taxi, and fast too. While it's still preserved, taxi run events where people can watch the Vulcan speed down the runway can still happen. As I mentioned earlier, the only funding is from donations, and I think it's really important that the Vulcan is kept in such good condition for as long as possible. Obviously, in order for this to happen, the people who appreciate the dedication of the charity should definitely consider donating if they're able to. So while I'm watching a video of Vulcan 426, I had an idea. Let's raise some generous donations for the Vulcan Restoration Trust. And to encourage donations from everyone, I asked my friend Orange12345, who just so happens to be the creator of PTFS, if we could give some pretty cool rewards to people who help fund the future of this Vulcan. He extremely generously granted my proposal. Introducing Victory for Vulcan. The Vulcan Restoration Trust kindly signed up to Streamlabs charity for me, and by donating via the link in the description, with 100% of the donation going to the Vulcan Restoration Trust, not even Streamlabs touches it, you can get some extremely rare rewards. Let's take a look at those now. For people who donate $1.99 plus, your name will be on the list at the end of the campaign with a video dedicated directly to the supporters. If you donate $4.99 plus, your name will be put on a wall at RAF Scampton in PTFS permanently. If you donate $7.99 plus, your name will be at the start of every video I upload until the end of January 2021. And finally, if you donate $9.99 plus, your name will be put on the tail of the Vulcan in PTFS permanently. Note that if space on the tail is filled up, an area on the wing may be used as an overflow, which is also just as cool. Please remember, this is not a store. All money goes to the Vulcan Restoration Trust, a charity dedicated to preserving and restoring a live 40-ton bomber, which isn't cheap. If you are able to, please donate generously. And just to throw another thing in there, to make things even more interesting, I will match half of any amount over £10 donation. All rewards include previous rewards. The idea of this is to have the minimum reward thresholds reasonably low so that more people can get a chance to be rewarded. The campaign will end on the 30th of November. And the goal? Well, realistically, I don't know how many people will donate and how much they will donate. But I reckon if we try our hardest, we can raise at least $200. I'm not sure if this is too optimistic, but I reckon we can if we try our best. And remember, this is a goal, not a limit. So, let's show the world what we can do. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be showing you what we have been working on and what is now in the test server. So there are two things. The first thing is, actually I'll show you the least cool thing first. It's still pretty cool, but compared to the next thing it's not incredibly cool. But basically, if you spawn a helicopter, here we go, I will use this helicopter here. So when you fly near the ground, it gives dust particles, and obviously like if you fly up it will be less spread, and then if you go down, like the particles will fly further away. So yeah, it's got the cool sort of helicopter dust effects and it follows you around. So yeah, that is yeah, I mean the amount of coolness per time taken to make it ratio isn't incredibly high, but I think it's a really cool addition for helicopters. Okay, now the next thing, this took me a very long time to make and it was quite frustrating for some of the maths equations involved, but eventually I got there. I just had to like create a bunch of functions and things, and that is wind. So when you join or when you reset, you have to enable it in the options, because what we don't want is new players to be like suddenly like affected by a crosswind when they first join. So you just go options and then enable wind, and that will save like even if you leave the server. So let's pick a, oh actually before I show you the wind in action, I should tell you where you can find out the wind. So this update obviously was a tiny bit delayed, this test server published. I was just waiting for a couple of things, but in the meantime we had actually improved it a lot, so it's, you know, all adds up in the end. So as you can see, the wind direction is currently 42 degrees and a speed of 10. So 42 means it's coming from 42 degrees, so it will be blowing you about, let's see, so if 40 is there, it will sort of go about just over 200 something. So what I will do is I will get a plane. To speed things up, I will get like a military plane. Here we go. So here I have an Su-27, and you can also see the wind via the windsocks, and you will see them at the airports. They are just dotted around. Like here's one. It does glow, so I can see the wind is blowing that direction, and you will see if I come in to land that I will be affected by the wind. So at the moment the wind does change very rapidly and it will always be above 5. This is to make it more fun to test, and you know, because if it was realistic we probably wouldn't have much wind all the time. And yeah, so in the test server it's going to be more rapid and more strong than it will be in the real game. So if I come into land now, let's see, I don't know if there's much wind. Actually, yeah, no, I'm just used to wind. So as you can see, I am being blown off to the right here, so I need to sort of crab a bit to the left. There we go. And then once you go into taxi mode, you can straighten up. So what I will now do is wait for the wind to change, and then I will show you another crosswind landing. Actually, while I wait for the wind to change, I should probably tell you, when I made the wind, it's obviously very artificial wind, and it's really designed with crosswinds in mind. If you have a headwind, it will obviously decrease your speed, but the speed indicator actually is based off ground speed. So headwinds and tailwinds, they won't really affect you much. Right now I haven't made it so they'll give you lift or take away from your lift. That might be something in the future, but I don't think people really mind about that. What's the coolest part is definitely the crosswind landings and crosswind takeoffs. And remember, this is obviously the test server, so we may well improve the realism of them. Oh yeah, another thing, we removed the passenger camera thing from ATC seats so they can use their binoculars while sitting down. Okay, we now have a wind direction of 82. Perfect, so that is a crosswind, so I can now demonstrate a crosswind landing. Okay, so hopefully the wind stays as it is before I come into land. So yes, I can definitely feel that I am being blown to the right. I'm having to put my nose to the left. So have a look at this. This is really cool. And touchdown, and then I can bring my nose back to the centre like that. So yeah, one thing, when you first try to crosswind landing, you'll probably notice it's not very smooth because you're more focusing on your sort of left and right motion, but you do get used to it pretty quickly. So anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!